Hey guys, and welcome back to a new video. A lot of people ask me very frequently in which order they should actually follow my videos to learn Android from basically 0 to Pro. So I decided that in this video I will give you a clear path for exactly that. Right away, I'm not a big fan of learning with roadmaps in the classical sense, so that you just watch my videos one after another until you watch them all. This will be good for my channel, but not for you. If you want to become a good swimmer, watching videos about swimming might probably help, but it should not be the focus on your journey to becoming a good swimmer. And it's the same for Android. If you only read books and watch videos about Android, you won't become an Android developer. No, an Android developer can take requirements, custom requirements, and build a functional app out of these. Therefore, I will include that aspect on the roadmap I will present you and explicitly tell you when you should practice your skills on a real-world project before moving on. So first of all, to start and before you can do anything on Android, you need to learn the fundamentals. That first of all includes learning Kotlin as a programming language, since that is the main language we use for native Android development, and then followed by the fundamentals of Android development. Fundamentals of Android include things like building basic UI, activities, fragments, navigation, permission handling, notifications, all these things. My Android fundamentals playlist covers all that while we build our UI in XML there, while all my later playlists and videos use that with Jetpack Compose with Android's more recent UI framework and more modern one. I recommend to learn the basics of XML because you definitely need these as an Android developer nowadays, but then I would recommend to focus more on Jetpack Compose since that is definitely the future of UI building in Android. Even though I would always start a new app using Jetpack Compose nowadays, XML is still widely spread in the industry, and it's important to know that and understand it since it's still the core of most Android UIs. So for all that, for Kotlin, Android fundamentals, and Jetpack Compose, I have playlists on my channel, which I will all link down below. So before you can work on any type of real world project, watch these playlists. However, after that, so after you have some kind of understanding of what an Android app actually consists of, build an app. I highly recommend to skip all the fancy stuff out there like architecture patterns, dependency injection, coroutines, clean architecture, and whatnot, and actually build something. I really wouldn't care much how it works, what you build, as long as it's an app that does something. Because in the end, learning works the best if you enjoy the process. So I encourage you to just experiment as much as you can, enjoy the process. Starting non-perfect is 1,000 times better than not starting at all, because you always try to make it perfect right away. So a very great first idea for an app you could build without a tutorial here, by the way, would be a calculator app. So just build some cool, simple UI for a calculator, a basic calculator, just with the normal mathematical operators, and then make that work and build this app out of your very own brain power without a tutorial. That is what really makes you learn something. After you've done that, I would recommend to learn how you can handle various different data sources in your app together with asynchronous programming. So first, I would recommend to watch my playlist about coroutines and flows, which teaches you how you can efficiently execute things in the background on Android that take a little while. So for example, a network call to an API where you might wait 1 second for an answer or so. You will find links for both these playlists down below again. After that, so after you know how asynchronous programming works and what that actually is, I would recommend to learn how you can interact with a local database in Android. So how you can really save persistent data, so data that remains across app launches, also when the device reboots. For that, I recommend to start with the Room library, for which I will also link down a crash course below. Then again, build an app with what you've learned. Since you now know how to persistently save data, I would recommend to build something like a simple to-do list app. So you have an app where you have a list of to-dos, you can check these, uncheck these, and if you click on a to-do, you get to a detail screen where you can then inspect it or simply update it. Again, don't care about architecture, just make it a working to-do app with room, so to save these to-dos in a database, and then you already learned quite a lot for that. Next up, I would recommend to learn Retrofit and actually interacting with remote APIs, so making network requests in the end. I will link down a crash course of mine below for Retrofit. I have crash courses for those, for all those things. But after that, after you've learned the basics of Retrofit, which are really simple actually, then I would recommend to build a simple app using Retrofit. And that can really be something super simple, just something like a random duck app, for example, which uses the random duck API. So you can simply just Google for that. That is a free API, which just gives you an image of a random duck, which you can display in your app, but it teaches you how you can interact with that remote API to actually get that link. And then if you click a button, you again show a loading spinner as long as the request takes. And then after that request is over, you show an image of the next duck. So you now probably noticed that quite often I mentioned that you should not focus on learning architecture for Android. So to learn the concepts that make an app scale. And of course, a proper software architecture is very important to write an app that is maintainable, that is well testable, that is scalable, but not before that. An app where you simply display a random duck or an app where you just display a list of to-do items does not need an architecture. A proper app architecture becomes relevant when your app maybe has 10,000, 20,000 or 100,000 lines of code, which you simply don't have with these simple things. So it's much more important as a beginner to actually focus on building apps and learning to think as an Android developer before you start to think in architectural paradigms. But after you've done all what I've mentioned and built all these real world apps on your own with your own brain power, I would recommend to start learning an architectural pattern, for example, MVVM or MVI. That usually goes hand in hand with dependency injection, and very often in Android with a dependency injection framework like Dagger-Hilt. For both that I have a crash course, so I will link my Dagger-Hilt crash course below, and my MVVM crash course I'll also link below. Once you learn that, and you now know how you can implement a local database, how you can implement or how you can interact with a remote API, how we can do all that with asynchronous programming and coroutines, and how we can use somehow proper architecture to put all that together in an app that scales, I would really recommend to start working on a bit of a larger app. My recommendation here would be to build a comparable app to Google Calendar. So something like a Google Calendar Lite version. That is an app where you can save events, tasks, and reminders, and you basically get notification reminders, for example, 30 minutes before an event actually starts. But you can also give the user the option to choose when they want to be reminded. And this is actually the type of app participants of my mentorship program will build over the course of 10 weeks to finally become an industry-ready Android developer. So there I offer everything you need, like the mockups, API documentation with an API key, requirements. So everything you need to build a fully functional app, and you can only focus on your craft. I intentionally chose this type of app, and I also recommend you to build this type of app because it really combines everything you need in the industry all the time. So that includes authentication, dealing with the tokens. It includes a caching strategy. So that is an offline first step, since you get all these events, reminders, tasks from a remote API, but you need to save them in your local database. Since that is an offline first step, it should work in offline mode, so without having an active internet connection. You will need to deal with reminders, as I said, so showing notifications at given times. You will need to deal with data synchronization in the background, usually with things like Work Manager or so. So there's a lot of complexity going on behind the scenes in this type of app, which is why I really recommend you to build this app. And of course, you can totally build this on your own, choose your very own mockups, and decide how this should look like. In that case, you only have the option to implement this locally, so the local database, or if you also already know how to implement a backend, you could also write a backend, so you could synchronize all that data and make it available online. But if you think at this point you could really need a boost in your learning, then you can also check the link in this video's description to apply for the next round of my mentorship program. It's very likely the application is closed when you watch this video, but either way you can apply and join the waiting list, so you will be notified when the next round starts. And no matter if you joined or not, if you reach this point, congratulations, then you really know a lot about Android development, and I would consider you an industry-ready Android developer. From now on, you are much more flexible with what you spend your time on. Of course, there is still tons of stuff you can learn to become a better Android developer, but I would only learn these things by building real-world projects from now. Because while doing that, you will inevitably stumble over topics you just don't know yet, which you then need to research, and you simply learn these by research. What also makes sense is to start working as a freelancer or apply at a company, because that really gives you a whole different perspective of the practice world of Android development. Since again, it's a totally different thing if you work together in a team with other Android developers, where you can give each other feedback for what you did, where you receive code reviews, compared to just sitting in your room alone and working on your own apps. But again, if you don't have a job yet or don't work as a freelancer yet and you just lack that experience, then apply for my mentorship program. We really simulate that kind of environment where we have other participants who are also highly committed Android developers, where you can learn from. You can learn from me. I will review all your code. So there's a lot to learn. In case you want that boost for your learning, just apply down below, and if it fits, you will hear back from us. Apart from that, thanks a lot for watching this video. I hope this helped you to have some kind of guidance and path you can follow as a beginner. If so, then definitely let me know that down below and leave a like and subscription in case that did not happen yet. And I will wish you an amazing rest of your week, and I'll see you back in the next video. Bye bye.